Morning all. Just to have complete coverage of the recent Karpov-Kasparov celebration, Blitz and Rapid, I'll go back to game 1 now, which we didn't cover. So d4 was played by Karpov. Kasparov played knight f6. After c4, g6 was played. So this introduced actually this variation, which was repeated several times later. So bishop g2, d5. So Kasparov electing for a kind of Gruenfeld strategy where he's trying to attack the white centre later. So he's encouraging white to play e4 and perhaps to overextend the centre. So we see a lot of pressure on d4 immediately. Knight e2 and now c5. So the reason that white couldn't take on c5 is black can just leave the white king stranded in the centre and even regain the pawn after knight a4 because it hits b2 and c5. So Karpov has to be careful not to take on c5. He plays d5, and now we see both sides castling, and now e6. So a logical undermining move, using the fact that the knight's on b6. The knight represents a piece for Karpov to attack, though, and he's often been playing a4, a5 to try and chase this later. But first he must protect d5 a bit more, and also I think he wants to stop potentially bishop g4s as well. To be an annoying pin. In this game, he played knight b to c3 and not knight e to c3, which was quite curious actually. So knight b c3 and now knight a6. But this potential for the annoying pin is stopped now with h3. After ed, Kasparov played knight c4, so the knight can go back now to d6. So it's improving the worst piece in the position. Arguably, that knight on b6 is not doing anything anymore. So white just has that strong passed pawn, but it can be blockaded via that d6 square. So bishop f4 and now b6 was played. Karpov played queen d2. So kind of a logical move, potentially for bishop h6s. Bishop b7, rook ad1. Another logical move. After knight c4, Karpov played g4. Now maybe this is slightly weakening for the king side. After queen d7, a4, Kasparov actually played f5, and this has quite an aggressive idea or follow-up, which I'm not sure Kasparov necessarily had planned. Rook ad8 first, and after bishop g3, Kasparov is aware that knight f4 will be protecting d5 even more, with the potential of maybe knight e6s. Because if takes, then attacking the queen and the bishop, it might be unpleasant at some point, knight e6s. Or just h4, bishop f3 and h5, putting pressure on this pawn, if h4, h5 later, if there's a knight on f4. So Kasparov stops all this with the quite a dynamic pawn sacrifice. He plays f4, and it brings his pieces to life. In particular, this knight is kind of dangerous if it can reroute to d4. So knight takes f5, knight f5. And also, the rook has got a bit more scope as well. Considering it's a 30-minute game, piece play, dynamic piece play is quite important. And Karpov played knight b5, just trying to offer a pawn back, actually, to reduce the dynamism of black's position as well. So knight takes b5, a takes. Now here, if queen takes b5, then knight e6 forks the two rooks. So Kasparov actually just played knight d4. And curiously, Karpov played knight e6, but the sad thing is about this first game that he ran out of time here as well. Commentators have said as though, well, black's winning the exchange, but that's not the end of the story here. There's still quite a bit of play, and black needs to play quite accurately. So black is in this final position, if it could have been continued. If he had taken on e6, yes, he wins the exchange here. But white has this dangerous passed pawn, and black would have to be quite accurate actually. If we turn on Rybka here, an old version of Rybka by the way, so it might not be that brilliant analysis. But say rook e8, it's only like registering minus 0.35, so quite a small advantage actually, and it's actually disappearing now to 0.27 on depth 15. So why would you say this is a small advantage? well, if rook e1, how is this pawn rounded up? There's still quite a few technical problems to solve. If h6, h4, so there's quite a grip on the position here. So say this, rook e7. It's far from over. It's quite a messy position still, especially for 30 minutes. So it's quite sad that Karpov wasn't able to carry on in this position, because he's got these two bishops. Remember, the bishop pair, they're compensating for each other's weaknesses by having both colour of square, and combined with a dangerous passed pawn. I mean, this position is now minus 0.10 on depth 17. It's almost being treated as equal. So if Kasparov doesn't play super accurately, maybe he hasn't got much of an advantage here. But rook e8, if that's not a great move, maybe rook fd8, sort of trying to provoke e7, because then it will be weaker if e7. But so white has to be careful. White is the exchange down, so maybe black's best is just to get the rooks off, like this, for example, if given the opportunity, and now play king f8. But it's still, looks a bit dangerous. Say the rook wasn't there, then bishop d6 would be really dangerous. So black has to be careful here, but black's clearly better now. So this would be the way to play it, to try and get the rooks off and use the king maybe to stop the pawn. So say bishop f3, rook d2, bishop f4, chasing the rook again, bishop e2. So the rook can be chased a lot in these variations potentially. But now, as soon as king e7 happens, in principle this should be fine for black. So like just the exchange up, and with the pawn sort of blockaded. So that will be fine. But there was still fight in the final position, so it was actually far from clear, in my view, after this apparent blunder, with knight e6. Maybe Karpov had been looking at this exchange set as an exchange set, just to get the dangerous passed pawn. But it was quite unfortunate he just ran out of time in this position after playing knight e6, and it was a bad sign for the rest of the match, really. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the match coverage. I'm going to put now the videos into a playlist in order of play, and also that there will be on the chess videos forum at chessworld.net. I'll post each video sequentially. So if you visit chessworld.net, which I'm the sort of webmaster of, check out the chess videos forum. Some other great YouTubers are there as well, like Majnu, Canstein, J. Roby, Chess. I'm very happy to say that there's a great YouTube community at chessworld.net, and I'm hoping to encourage more of that as well, more video creators who are members there. Please leave any comments or questions on YouTube. Thanks very much.